this week, we're going to be talking about the Toronto condo market post-COVID and what we expect to see in the future-wise. Hey everyone, welcome to this week's weekly chat. Last week we talked about doom and gloom in the Toronto condo market in the current time. But as we said in that video wise, with our reallocation of funds, we truly still believe in the Toronto condo market. It's just right now we're in the trenches. So this week, we're going to be talking about the Toronto condo market post-COVID and what we expect to see in the future wise. So just right off the bat, low-hanging fruit. All the things that made Toronto an attractive environment to own and invest in condos, and the I don't want to say issues, but the factors that led to growth in the market, those didn't go anywhere. Those all still exist. Those have not gone anywhere. So when the switch gets turned back on, all those underlying factors still 100% exist. And number two, I think they've actually been amplified in a positive way. So when we looked at the issues currently in the trenches of what's impacting the Toronto condo market, it is immigration and the international student population wise. Those are the two major factors which are leading to a downturn in the demand for Toronto condos wise. Well, from an immigration standpoint, there are a number of factors which will lead to Toronto again being a leader in the world and a place that people will flock to and want to immigrate to. And I can say, in my full career of 11 years of selling real estate, I have never gotten calls from Americans asking about Toronto properties. This is the first time ever in my career. And that happened where I had multiple calls from Americans looking at Toronto properties. So that's just kind of a little bit off the beaten track. But when we look at Toronto post-COVID wise, our response isn't a New Zealand, Australia response where we were perfectly protected against the COVID-19 virus. But truthfully, they're islands in the middle of an ocean wise, whereas we share a border with one of the areas which was largely impacted by COVID-19. But from that point on, our courses compared to the United States in regards to how they handle COVID-19 do really deviate significantly wise. So in a post-COVID world, people in other countries are looking at the success, and it is a success, on how Canada has dealt with the COVID-19 pandemic. Would you agree, Kyle, that overall, you actually have a wife that is in this field, well, not exactly in this field, but is in the pharmaceutical field wise and is exposed and has conversations, I'm sure, daily about this. There's a level to success of how this has been handled, correct?
Yep, absolutely. And I think most people agree that Canada has handled it, quite remarkably, been able to flatten the curve, which was always so important.
Mm-hmm. So number one, we handled it correctly. And in regards to, from an economic standpoint, our I don't want not incentives, but how would you describe our packages to float the economy wise were also quickly rolled out. Not every one of them was successful, but they got them out quickly wise. And the CERB, I believe that's what the Canadian Emergency Response Benefit,
yep,
like it or hate it, was successfully rolled out. And the key, from an economic standpoint, it was all about getting money in people's pockets, and I commend them to doing that. And it was you got to replace the economic activity wise. So that's the key thing. The economy was shut down, so there was no money. So the government stepped in and put money back in. So it was a replacement effect. And if you got tied down with red tape bureaucracy, that would have had much more significant damage to the economy wise in regards to tying up liquidity in the markets. So a very, very good response on that side. Now, the next stage is how you're going to, roll to do the next stage of the program. I'm not going to make comments on that. But I would say our response has been good. People are living, people are eating, those are things. So from a worldwide perspective, the world is looking at that. And obviously this has been such a shock to social systems wise, which we did a video where we did our support wise, where we donated money to the University Health Network because we wanted to give back, and we understand that this crisis puts major stresses on our social network wise. In other areas, and again, the United States, we saw some huge cracks in the social network that they have in place wise. So again, worldwide, the eyes were on the United States, and from an immigration standpoint, we're going to be looking very attractive.
And Alex, I think this has really highlighted that our value system isn't just based on making money and being successful. We have Canadian values. We tend to be more measured, more conservative. Nice has a value and can be seen as trusted and neutral throughout the international community.
Mm-hmm. And I'll add this point, Canada is not perfect, and there are racial tensions out there wise, as we are two white people saying this on camera wise. So I do want to add that to anyone that's watching that. We are fully there. Canada has its own issues and its own tensions, and we are not stating that it doesn't. But from Toronto and its multicultural level wise, and our acceptance of many, many different cultures wise, and their ability to intertwine and operate as one, it is a very valuable item that Toronto has to offer. So,
and proof of this, Alex, that people are drawn to Canada, is the fact that we are so diverse, we're so inclusive. An interesting fact that I read recently was that the Mars building, Medical and Related Sciences building, downtown Toronto, the largest urban innovation hub in North America, more than half of the company founders were actually born abroad. So they came to Canada, they see this center for collaboration. That's really kind of our secret sauce in Canada. And they've come here, they've brought good paying jobs. They're establishing high-tech companies in, many of the sciences as well, and really creating industries here.
Oh, and that's a great segue to make sure I don't go too far off track, Kyle. I like that. So when we look at how the Canadian economy runs, we do rely on immigration. We are an immigration-based country-wise. So from a government policy level, they have to let immigrants in. It's not actually a choice. We need them for our economy to continue to run and move smoothly wise. And then the fact that you're bringing in Mars, highly educated and skilled immigrants tend also to be great entrepreneurs. So in regards to the Canadian economy wise, the skills and truly the motivation to succeed is great. So though we're going to have that influx of individuals coming in, which will continue to diversify the economy and build and help build out our economy as well. And now I'll segue back to you, Kyle. I know that you wanted to talk more about immigration and the high-tech space that Toronto has to offer.
Yeah, and you touched on it already, is in Canada, we do have these high-tech programs to expedite skilled immigrants coming into the country. The U.S. had a similar program as well. It's called H-1B visas, where they allow skilled employers and specialty occupations to come in. And their approvals throughout 2019 actually dropped from 94% down to 76% in 2019. And their wait time went from 5 months to nearly 10 months. The equivalent Canadian program, we've approved 95% of these applicants in 2 weeks or less. So it just shows you that the government is really trying to support these programs to get skilled immigrants into the country.
And Kyle, that was before COVID-19, right?
Yeah.
So again, everyone on this video that's watching the video, you have to understand, we need immigration post COVID-19. So you are going to see the gates open up, and we want to bring the people in. The good news is that the people will want to come here. That's the marriage that's very important. And the infrastructure that Toronto has created wise with our high-tech jobs, with the multiculturalism, being the most multicultural city in the world, let alone Canada-wise, this is where people are going to flock to. And guess what? They all need places to live. So post-COVID-19, expect, I'm not going to say immigration numbers are going to increase because we are already at historic highs, but Toronto will be a #1 destination point for immigrants to come here. Now, that's the one point. The second point is that we've always talked about Canada being safe and boring. And we're going to see a flock of international capital coming into Canada, and again, Toronto-wise, because that's where we have the population base. We're going to see international capital coming in. And the reason for international capital coming in, again, due to COVID-19, Canada is well structured. You know, the U.S. from a financial standpoint is well structured, but a lot of other countries are not well structured. These developing countries that hold debt in U.S. dollars are not well structured for the shocks to the economic system. So yes, we as a country are able to write a blank check to help the population get through this and float the economy. Other countries are not. And what will result is negative impacts to the countries, those countries, and then impacting their currency-wise. In Canada, we've never had a currency crisis-wise, but this is the reality for other countries. You know, Russia had theirs. Argentina always seems to have theirs. So what happens? People that live in those countries that are having their currencies devalued need to find a place for their capital that is safe and boring. And what's more safe than boring than real estate in Toronto, or real estate in Canada wise, and they'll flock to Toronto wise. Locals may not think it's boring, but I'm telling you, it's just safe and boring. And they're focused on wealth preservation because they're having a devaluation of their currency wise in their home country. So you're going to see a flock of international capital with the immigrants wise coming here and investing it in our real estate wise, because they just want to make sure their wealth is there the next day. And that is going to be another result post COVID-19 as the economic damage will spread to countries that don't have the strong central banking systems that we do here in Canada. I would say, if not one of the strongest, the strongest central bank system in the world. These safe and boring things we saw in the financial crisis, we'll see it again post COVID-19. Safety is a very valuable currency during these uncertain times.
Speaking of investment as well, Alex, I looked up the 7 largest market cap companies in the entire world. It was Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Alphabet or Google, Alibaba, Facebook, and Tencent. They're all tech companies or all related to online sales.
Yeah.
And what does Toronto going for it? You know, we're a magnet for talent, for tech talent.
And guys, some of that tech talent can't get into the United States. So that's why you have major campuses coming to Toronto-wise, because the tech talent isn't able to get to the US. And again, I'll reference back to Kyle-wise, our labor is much more affordable than the labor in the US. And why I relate back to Kyle, Kyle's wife works for a major international company that's headquartered in San Francisco in the US. Why does she have her job in Canada? Because literally they could hire 2 of her in Canada for the cost of 1 of her in San Francisco. She used to handle US regulations for the drug market, but she lived in Canada. That was the affordable aspect of that. So the talent that can't be accessed in the US is number 1, and number 2 is that it's actually more affordable for them to be employed up here.
And proof of that too, Alex, this was really interesting. I learned about a company called Mob Squad, where they're hiring US H-1B holders who are unable to renew their visas, and they have to get out of the country within 60 days. So what country is very close to the US? You know, Canada. So they're actually setting up these people in Calgary, was actually one of their main offices, you know, for tech. And they're actually being hired by the US companies, but located in Canada. And they had over 30,000 applicants in the first 18 months of starting to accept them.
Yeah, and that's, again, all post COVID-19, what we're going to be coming out to. So these are all the positives. So COVID-19 is only going to be a blip in the Toronto radar wise. And from the pre-construction world, the new developments that are launching, we still see continued growth in the Toronto market as a blue chip location. Another point that I heard this week, where I meet with this group of international entrepreneurs every 3 months, far more successful than me. Like I'm like gum on the bottom of their shoe. They made a really good point, that they see Toronto as becoming the Zurich of North America. And it may be insulting to some people, but they're like, not a terribly important city and not a terribly important country, safe and boring, but a very attractive place for people to put their capital into. And being not terribly important and safe and boring, again, it's a very valuable thing. What do you think government bonds are? Government bonds that pay such a low percentage of return wise back to individuals, but they're safe and boring, and everyone's portfolio, if you have mutual funds, has government bonds in them. And the reason is you need to make sure that your capital still exists and is hopefully making a return above inflation wise. And that's what government bonds are there to do. It's safe and boring for your portfolio, so you know that money will always be there. So with Toronto emerging as a global safe and boring city, that's only positive moving forward. And I don't know how better else to explain. I don't know if you got a better way to explain it, Kyle, but it's like, more trust us, guys. You know, if you traveled around the world, you know what Toronto is, and you know what it has to offer, and you know that Toronto is not in danger of going down a different pathway. It will continue to be a global, safe and boring destination wise, which will be attractive. The only negative, it's a little cold in the winter. Can't fix that. Is there anything else we should add, Kyle, or just I think that that's really don't worry about it, guys. It's all coming back. Oh, and I'll also add, as a parent of 2 young kids, where people talk about the end of the office market, just throw those headlines in the garbage wise. I'm actually at the office right now because it's so difficult for me to get work done at home. And there are many other parents out there that can't wait to get out of their houses to the efficiency of the office space. There will be a hybrid that's happening of the work from home and the office space, but the office space isn't going anywhere. So I just want to, shut that down for everyone that thinks that that's happening. That's absolutely ridiculous. And commercial development is still happening in downtown Toronto and will continue to develop wise. So should we wrap it down up there, Kyle, before I go down some other rabbit hole?
I think so.
Okay, awesome. Well, guys, if you're interested in investing in real estate wise, please reach out to Kyle or myself. We just want you to grow financial freedom and generational wealth through the investment in real estate. Okay, guys, looking forward to talking to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.